What's going on, guys? Trevor Moots here, aka Taylor Fade. Today I'm going to share with you guys some techniques and a demonstration on how to achieve more of a longer lift-in haircut, but we're going to be doing these techniques clipper over comb. This is a super requested haircut in the barbershop, super versatile, super common, and I'm going to share with you guys an easy technique on how to achieve this, and I can't wait to see what you guys build with it. First step when working with this longer hair is I'm just creating a nice little section up top, getting all this hair out of the way. That way we can protect it and start working on this canvas underneath. So all I've done is I've just created a nice little section all the way around, starting from that recession point. That way we have this canvas underneath to start building that shape, start giving it that silhouette, so that way this top length has something to sit on top of. So the first clipper that I'm using with you guys today is going to be that Wahl Cordless Senior. Reason I chose to use this one is because it does have that rotary motor, so it's going to allow me to work through that bulk a little bit quicker, a lot more efficiently, and it holds up through that amount of hair. I'm pairing this up with the Wahl clipper comb. Reason I'm using a wider comb is, as you guys can see, it's going to act as more of a protectant, right? So whenever I put my clipper teeth on the comb, you guys can see that they're not hanging over as they would on a normal comb. So that's going to reduce the risk of you guys missing your comb, missing your guideline, or creating any holes throughout your haircut. So when working around the head, it's important to have a guideline of where you guys want to start. So all I'm going to do is, just by using my comb, right? I'm taking a comb's width section all the way around. And what I'm going to do is just set my guideline for my haircut, right? So I'm just going to create a nice little layer here. I'm going to hold this hair completely straight out of the head. And this is where I'm going to determine my length. This is going to determine how long I want this haircut to be. So I always want to make sure I'm starting with my senior. I want that blade to be all the way open. When I'm all the way open like that, all I'm doing is just creating some texture, right? So I'm here, turn my clipper on, I'm going to work through it. And that's going to give you a nice little guideline of how you guys are working through your haircut. After I set my guideline here, I'm going to start picking up the hair and combs with sections. I'm going to anchor my comb in, elevate it out to where I meet my guideline up top here. I'm just going to start working through it. Just reducing that weight. Once I have my guideline set all the way across here, and I have my first segment cut out, all I'm going to do is pick the hair up, anchor my comb in, elevate out to where I see my guideline again, and I'm just going to keep following that all the way through. Once I have this initial guideline set, I'm just going to take this hair, again, combs with sections, elevate the hair out, place comb underneath, starting at my top guideline here, and I'm just going to follow this hair straight back. Anytime I'm working with my comb, right? Anytime I'm working horizontally with the head shape, I'm just reducing weight. Anytime my comb position switches to diagonally back, that's when I'm creating a layer as well and following around at the head shape. So you're going to maintain a horizontal position along the side of the haircut. And then once you start to get towards the back, that's when you're going to drop your comb position down to diagonally back, just to follow the round of the head shape in. So the next tool that we're going to talk about is going to be the Wahl Detailer cordless. This is what I'm going to use when I'm actually working in those tighter areas around the ear, the neckline, anytime I'm detailing that hairline, working through and just getting those tighter areas. You guys can see it's a little bit smaller, still has a rotary motor to it, so it's going to allow me to work through that bulk, but this is what I use for my more fine detailing. So for my next phase of the haircut, I'm just going to attach a number 4 guard onto my senior. And I'm just going to start to build underneath, right around the hairline, really through segment 1, just so I can start to lay a taper underneath this haircut. After going across with my number 4, you'll see a little bit of a weight line right here through the occipital. How to get that out is I'll just go back through, clip over comb horizontally, and just elevate that hairline out and start to graduate up the head shape. The next clipper that I'm switching over to is going to be the Wahl cordless magic clip. The reason I like to use this one below a number 4 guard is because it has that stagger tooth blade, so it's going to allow me to create texture as I'm doing my blend. I always use this one on every single one of my fades anytime I'm working with a number 3 and below. I'm gonna follow the same exact guideline down. Now I'll just be using my number 2 guard. I always start with my clipper lever all the way open, just because I know that's gonna cut less hair. I can always go back and remove a little bit more, but following right underneath where I left off of that number 3 guard. After I start all the way open, I'll go ahead and close that lever all the way. Stay a little bit underneath, right on that hairline. And just cut a little bit more towards that bottom. Following a 3-finger system fading technique, I'll place 3 fingers on the head shape. My first finger is going to be no guard all the way open and closed. Second finger is going to be my 1 guard, and my third finger is going to be my 1.5 guard. That's how I'm going to tie from no hair all the way into that 2 where I left off. So I'm going to start off with my no guard all the way open, and I'm going to go up about a finger's width. And as you can see, I'm just scooping off of the head shape. So I'm starting at 90 degrees completely on the head shape, and I'm coming off at 45. After I go all the way open, I'm gonna go ahead and close that lever, and I'm just barely going to hit the bottom line and just knock that completely out. So as you guys can see, we started off doing our segment, right? That 3-finger transition into that taper. We've already done our first finger, which is gonna be that no guard down here at the bottom, which is gonna leave us with about 2 more fingers. This middle finger here, that's where we're gonna use our number 1 guard, right? So now I'm gonna put that number 1 guard on my clipper, start with that lever all the way open, and again, I'm just working up about a finger's width, using that same technique, that scooping method, and that'll start to transition into that longer length. So this is gonna be more of a shorter scoop. I'm not elongating my stroke anymore, just because I'm working on a blend here. So once I've started all the way open, you guys can see it still leaves a little bit of this weight right here down at the bottom. That's okay. Like I said, I know I can close that lever just a little bit more and take out that weight. So now I'm closed about 1/4 of the way, and I'm just gonna work right through that darker area. Now I'm gonna close it all the way and just really knock out that bottom line. After I've worked with the no guard and the 1 guard, in between, that's where I'll take my 1/2 guard and I'll start open, and that's what's gonna tie those 2 areas together. So I'll just work that 1/2 guard. This is gonna be more of my eraser, not necessarily a guard that I'm gonna start my segments with, but this is how I'm gonna tie my segments together. And you can see that really helps eliminate any of that weight right through there down at the bottom. And that's how we'll start to kind of build through that taper. So all we have left is going to be our 1.5 guard. So now I'll place my 1.5 guard on my clipper, again, starting all the way open. That's gonna be our last finger. As you guys can see, that last finger segment here. Starting all the way open one more time. And just really transitioning into that longer length. So this one can be a little bit of a longer flick if you're working into that longer length. And again, anytime I see any of this weight down here at the bottom, that's where I'll just close that lever just a little bit in order to tie that out. So now I'm all the way closed, working right down towards the bottom. And that should give you the result that you guys are looking for. Utilizing the same technique that we did on the back of the hair to create this taper, I'm going to use the same exact same exact system on the side to create the taper on the sideburn as well. So just again, starting off with my number 3, lever all the way open, I'm going to start to reduce some of this weight. So once I've gone all the way open, again, just go ahead and close it and go right underneath. I'm going to do the exact same thing now using my number 2 guard, starting with my lever all the way open and just staying right underneath that number 3. And again, I'm just building out, and what I mean by that is I'm moving my clipper away from the head towards me, so that way the teeth point directly towards me, so that way it's creating some sort of graduation as I get towards this longer length that we set in the beginning. So again, starting with that lever all the way open, I see it's a little bit shorter here, so I can close it. And I'll follow the same exact steps using my 1.5 guard. All the way open to start. Now I'm just going to close that lever again, stay closer towards the bottom. And I'll follow the rest of this up with my 1 now. All the way open, staying a little bit closer towards the bottom. As I move further along towards the hairline, that's when my lever becomes closed. Now we're going to be working with no guard. My lever all the way open, and I'm just working right towards the bottom, just lifting that hairline about 1/4 of an inch. I always want to make sure I'm brushing as I'm working with my tapers, just to make sure I'm not cutting anything that I've already cut, and I'm keeping my canvas clean. So as you guys can see, light and then dark. In order to get that dark spot out, again, just close that lever. And work it right through that bottom. My last step in creating this taper, I'm gonna put my 1/2 guard on. Starting all the way open. And again, I'm just transitioning from where I left off with no guard all the way into that number 1. So I'm starting all the way open. Close it just a little bit. and that should tie your taper together. So we're going to be following the exact same steps that we did on the other side, on this same side as well. So again, just starting with that number 3. last clipper that I'm going to use today is going to be the Big Mac Sterling. And the cool thing about it is it actually has the interchangeable blades, and you guys can see I actually switched mine out and I put the texture blade on. So using this one, that's how I'm going to allow myself to create some texture and some movement up top and just create more of a nice layer. That way we can get some movement working through the top. So the section that I'm working with up top, as you guys can see, I've taken a nice just vertical section right through the center, about the width of my comb, and that's what I'm going to use to establish my guide. So all that hair is going to come out completely square across the head shape, and that's how we're going to set that guide up. So one of the last techniques I want to share with you guys on how to get some texture is just by taking that texture blade that we switched on to the Big Mac. I'm going to comb the hair in the natural growth pattern, and then I'm just going to make little hatches into the hairline, almost like a cross. So I'm just going to take my comb, and I'm just going to follow that, right? I'm going to place my clipper right on top of my comb, and I'm just going to comb right through the hair. And that's just going to help me reduce some of this weight, create some of this movement for that end result. So once you do one side, you'll do the same exact thing on the other, and you guys can kind of see the weight that's getting taken out already. So guys, all we have left now to do is blow dry and style it. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I can't wait to show you guys the finished product. So guys, that's the finished look for today. Once again, my name is Trevor Moots, aka Taylor Fade. I just want to thank you guys all again so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you soon.